Hey everyone, how's your summer been going so far? Especially Roughneck fans as defending NLL champions here. It was awesome to, as a Stampeders season ticket holder, get to celebrate their NLL championship win at the Calgary Stampeders home open. They were there a few weeks ago. Guess it's only fair because there was one Roughnecks game at Stampeders night, and we celebrated the Calgary Stampeders Grey Cup win at a Roughnecks game. But anyway, just like the Roughnecks and the other 10 teams in the NLL, there's an expansion draft coming up here in the next couple days here, as the league last year at this time expanded from 9 to 11 teams, where we brought in the Philadelphia Wings back and the San Diego Seals. Well, now this year, as we're going to go into the 2020 NLL season, 2 more teams will be coming into the league to bring the league up to 13 teams, as we got the new Rochester Knighthawks. In case if you're wondering, let's follow along here. Yes, we had a Rochester Knighthawks team, but that team and all its rights will be relocating to Halifax to become the Halifax Thunderbirds. So we're going to have a new Rochester Knighthawks team who's owned by Terry Pagula, who's the Buffalo Sabres and Buffalo Bandits owner there. So we'll have a new Rochester Knighthawks and the New York Riptide, who will be playing in Long Island next season at the Nassau Coliseum there. So we got 2 more teams coming into the league here. So just like last year, if you look back to my last year videos, each team gets to protect 1 goalie, 5 forwards, and up to 5 forwards and 5 other players. So every team selects 11 players they get to protect, and then everyone else is available for the expansion draft here, and I'll go over who the Roughnecks protected and who's left available there. And they decided at a coin flip at game 1 of the NLL finals, when it was in Buffalo there against Calgary. It was decided that the Rochester Knighthawks will get the pick first, and then the New York Riptide will pick the next round, and then there will be 11 rounds and for 11 teams there, and each team won't lose more than 2 players there. And for example, with the Calgary Roughnecks last year, we lost Gary McIntosh and Frankie Sciliano. They both went to the San Diego Seals here, so the 2 players that the Roughnecks could get lost in the expansion draft there would either be go to each team or to go to one team or the other there. So let's go over who's protected and who's unprotected and speculate who I think will get claimed. And then next week I'll recap the whole expansion draft league-wide and talk about who we ultimately lost here. So let's bring up my players here. So who is protected, who the Calgary Roughnecks are protecting, is Tyson Bell, Wesley Berg, Reese Callies, Zach Currier, Kirsten Del Bianco, Curtis Superman Dixon, Dane Dovey, Jesse King, Tyler Pace, Eli Salama, and Mitch Wild here. So those are the 11 players that were protected here. To be honest here, I mean, there's obviously going to be some difficult decisions here as we can only protect 11 players here, but I mean, Wesley Berg didn't play at all. Still has a stalemate here, but I guess he's still out there protecting to still get his rights here. But there was no one really that stood out that shocking here. But who's available here? Well, I might be having a hard time speculating on who we could lose here, because there's some conditions attached to some players. When I did some research online here, but here's who's available for the either the Riptide or the Knighthawks here. You got Ty Burton, Mike Carnegie, Shaq Cummings, Reese Dutch, the guy who scored the big goal there, Greg Harnett, Anthony Killinch, Tyson Kirkness, Keelan LeClaire, Riley Lowen, and our captain Dan McRae, Curtis Manning, Ryan Martell, Cole Pickup, Tyler Richards, Shane Simpson, Bob Snyder, Dan Taylor, and Sean Tyrell there. So those are the players that are left unprotected by the Calgary Roughnecks here. And the obvious choice you would think that one player will definitely lose here could be Reese Dutch, the guy who scored the big goal for us to win the championship there in overtime here. But there's some speculation that he lives in British Columbia here, and both of these teams out east here, might have a harder time picking him up. And then the other thing too is you don't know as well in the NLL compared to the other major leagues here is you can be able to look up, contract status for each player. And I know some decisions get made based on, free agency status and age there. The thing a lot of time with these NLL players here is you get a lot of players that live close by that, they don't make a pile of money here that they can live off of being lacrosse here, and some of these guys play in summer leagues, and there was actually word that Reese Dutch got hurt in Western Lacrosse League close to home there, so that's why he's available there. But I could see him potentially get picked up here, but they might stay away too from injury and status with free agency here. But I honestly think that you might see. Looking at who is available there, I know Riley Lowen, I think, might be picked up by someone here. And then, who knows, maybe we'll lose our captain, Dan McRae here. Those are the biggest names there. But I think, I also read there, I think Riley Lowen, I believe, one of these players also has some issues with U.S., immigration too. Getting paperwork done there too, so maybe they could stay away there. There's definitely some strategy on why some players are obviously left protected while others are available there, that they might be available, but there's conditions attached here. But I still think, my guess here is that I'm going to guess that Riley Lowen, despite some of the paperwork, and I might even say Dan McRae. Those are my predictions here, who I think will be claimed here in the draft here. But I find it's not as obvious this year compared to last year. I know last year, if you look back at my video there, Frank Siciliano was the obvious guy to go. And he did get picked up because he started off as the starter in the 2018 season and eventually lost the job to Christian Del Bianco. So it was easy to make him expendable there. And then eventually it was Kieran McIntosh that I forget who else I picked there. But, I think I could expect anyone, who knows, it might be a bottom depth guy that might get claimed, and we still might keep our veterans here. But I don't know who I think will precisely get claimed. I can see Reese Dutch as well get claimed despite it, but there might also be some underneath the table trades that happen too, where sometimes you make trades at expansion draft to say, okay, we'll give you this if you don't take this guy. So I think there might be some of that with the Calgary Roughnecks here to try to keep our team together here. But anyway, I'll recap the expansion draft next week after everything's said and done. It will happen on Tuesday, July the 9th. That's when the expansion draft will go. I'll cover all 11 rounds and each pick, and if there's any trades that happen, I'll mention that, and we'll see who gets plucked from the unprotected list for the Calgary Roughnecks here. But I think this and the expansion draft recap will probably be the only off-season news that we'll have from a team until I go over the expansion or the entry draft. I mean, all these drafts in my mind here. The entry draft that we have in September, like I did last year, just to throw in some Roughnecks news as part of my Calgary sports that I mostly cover on my YouTube channel here. So if you like everything I do, I know most of my hockey content gets most of the views in that, but I also enjoy all Calgary sports, and I like to give, plugs to our other teams, the Stampeders and the Roughnecks. I mean, they're all owned by the Calgary Flames at the end of the day here, but, I also like going to these other games too. That's where I have season tickets for, but if you enjoy everything I do when I cover Calgary sports, I also plan to do some more personal vlogs here throughout the summer, and any scenery videos I share when I'm on holidays, and I might eventually get back to making some attempt at comedy videos there, but those videos require a little more work for me to do as opposed to my personal vlogs there. I mean, I know personal vlogs are able just to, ad-lib it, but attempt at comedy, I could sort of ad-lib it, but I need to put some work in it to make it work for me. But anyway, if you enjoy all that content, just make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon if you want to follow along, and go Next Go, and I'll see you in the next video, and we'll see who's off to the Knighthawks or Riptide or either or next week when I recap the expansion draft for 2019 NLL expansion draft. The other thing that could be interesting too is you only got 5 teams in the West and 8 teams in the East. They're gonna have to decide how they're going to break down the divisions too, because there's definitely an imbalance here. But it's good to see that the league is growing and there's some more stability here. So anyway, thank you. Go Next, and I'll see you in the next video.